Optimal fleet management and tracking for truck owners and drivers by team dominators. Our problem statement aims to solve the major problems faced by the Indian truck industry. So the few problems faced by truck industry today are that the field workers and contractors are not connected properly. Most of their communication happens over phone, so that's the main problem. Also, these field workers, they tend to carry feature phones with them, which are button phones, because they stay in charge for a longer time, and also they are more safe to carry in insecure roads where more thefts happen. Also, small scale contractors who own less than 5 trucks they don't have a proper tool to estimate their trips properly. What is the profitability for a particular trip for them? And one more problem that they face is that route optimization. So for these contractors who own less than 5 trucks with them, they don't really bother to properly optimize their routes because they have generic routes where they send these vehicles to. And in the case of complicated delivery points that they have to figure out, they just end up, scheduling more treks rather than properly optimizing it. And some opportunities that we thought will add a lot of impact to our solution is that JioPhone, which is the major feature phone market in India, basically button phones, it has 21% market share in India with 40 million devices. And as I said earlier, very less proportion of our truck drivers are using these smartphones. And one more additional opportunity is that it is mandatory for every truck to have a GPS device attached to it, which means government of India, the truck owner, and the contractor, all of them will have live GPS traces with them, which means all of this data can be put to a lot of use, which is currently not being utilized as much as it could be. So the core features of our solution are one, trip calculator, which tries to give a measure of profitability for a particular contractor when he schedules his trucks for trips. And the second is a traceable communication, which is just improving the way that our fleet field staff and the contractors, the way that they communicate. And the third part being the driver navigation, especially for drivers traveling to new states and new routes where different languages are spoken. They end up hiring brokers or middlemen to help them reach the destination, which takes a part of their overall trip amount. So for that, we have to come up with a way to give them navigation details in a feature or a smartphone. Apart from that, for our on the spot surprise finale challenge, we had to somehow make sure that our solution was making a positive impact on either the environment or the society. So we ended up building a route optimization feature wherein the algorithm would properly schedule the trips so that the number of trucks used would be minimum. So this meant that it had a good impact on the environment. And the social impact that we tried to cover was that trucks, since they usually travel in night, are known to have a lot of traffic violations, which could be a nuisance to the public. So we ended up also building a violations finder. These are some of the Here Maps APIs that we used. Here Location Services was we integrated their location services into the product. Moving on to the technologies and frameworks that we've used, our frontend is a progressive web app built on Vue.js and it's hosted on Netlify. Our backend is a Flask server which uses Python, and it's an Nginx server hosted on AWS EC2. You can try out our solutions on the following endpoints. This is our contractor side view and this is the staff side view. Thank you so much for listening.